Hi everyone and welcome to my video. I literally just can't start this video. I've been trying so many times. I think I'm pretty tired, but in this video, which I'm just going to get on with doing now, I'm going to tell you about my postpartum experience. I'm going to talk a little bit about the physical aspects, such as the healing process and some things that happened physically. I'm also going to talk about the emotions and how I've been feeling, as well as things like my relationship with my husband and my relationship with being a mother, basically. I'm making this video in a very real, unedited kind of way because I feel like my duty as a YouTuber is to really tell the truth, especially when it comes to pregnancy and childbirth and all this kind of stuff. I received so much support through the videos that I watched on other people's pregnancy/motherhood journeys, and I just want to give back. So I do hope that this video is helpful for you, or at least interesting. And if you yourself have been through the process, whether from the partner side or the actual, the person going through the pregnancy and the labor and stuff, do leave a message, do leave a comment, let me know. I think, the comment section can be a place of really interesting discussion and support to one another. So let's use it positively. Okay, this is in no particular order, just as things come up into my mind, I'm gonna share it with you. I think I'm gonna start though with the physical thing. So the birth itself, if you haven't watched my birth video and you're brave, please do go ahead, the link is up here and also in the description box. But my labor was extremely fast and very intense. I went to the hospital, I was 8 centimeters dilated, which in normal people's language means I'm basically almost ready to give birth. The birth was a lot physically, and it took me a long time to recover. I had an episiotomy, so I was cut and I tore and everything was a bit of a mess. So it probably took me about a month before I was actually able to do normal things like sit down comfortably. I was in a lot of pain, but I really appreciate the care that I got in the hospital. I stayed there for 5 days, which is pretty normal for Japanese standards. Again, if you are interested in seeing the video, the link is shown on the screen somewhere over here and is in the description box. The postpartum period, I think, was massively helped by being in a place where everyone around me knew exactly what to do about babies. All the midwives were extremely kind. They taught me so much about the basics, like how to change a nappy, how to bathe the baby, things that I can do to help breastfeeding, and just like so on and so forth. Even like products that could be good. As a Westerner in Japan, there's still sometimes I'm like, what shampoo should I buy for myself? So to know the kinds of like soaps or diapers or things like that that would be good for the child was like really, really useful, because I don't really know anything about what to get for kids. So yeah, that was really helped. And I think also being in a place where everything was kind of controlled and I felt very safe and I didn't really have to do anything, that was really, really nice, because I'd say about 3 days into the postpartum life, I could not stop crying and the emotions hit home. I think, like you're physically broken, you suddenly find yourself in a whole new reality where you have a small human depending on you 100%. I think it's just one of the biggest, if not the most intense experience of a woman's life to give birth and to find yourself. I feel like the non-motherhood time in my life was a different lifetime. I can't remember not having a child, or at least I remember it, but the feelings, I just can't connect to it. And I do believe that having a child does change who you are massively. I'll talk a little bit more about my attitude towards motherhood later, but I'll finish talking about the physical. So in terms of the physical healing, I'd say, probably about 4 weeks after giving birth, I felt more myself. I could sit down again. I wasn't scared to go to the toilet. So I felt a lot better, because for about a week after giving birth, I couldn't really walk. I could physically walk and stand and stuff, but it hurt a lot. And I was taking painkillers. I'm the kind of person, I just don't like taking medicine and stuff at all. So I was really delicate and I was in a lot of pain, but thankfully I was able to heal quite well. And I do think that that was helped by being in the hospital for such a long time. I say long time because in British standards, you could go out on the same day, whereas I actually don't physically think I could. So I'm very grateful for the Japanese attitude of like having a good rest time and really taking it easy before going home. In terms of bleeding, sorry, this is like maybe TMI, but I thought it was an important thing to say. Yeah, you spend like 10 months being pregnant, not getting any periods, and then you get all of those periods in the space of like 2 weeks after giving birth. You do have this long bleeding session, and it can last for 6 weeks. Mine was, I think it was until about 4 weeks, so there was like absolutely nothing. And the first week, I would say, was like heavy bleeding. But my clinic were really careful. They did blood tests and everything like that, and they checked my iron levels and I was fine. Didn't actually lose that much blood during the actual labor. I think I lost about 500 mil, which is safe. So now moving swiftly on to the next topic, which I thought was really important to address, and this is asking for help. Everybody will tell you, you need help. You can't do this by yourself. And in some ways, I really understand that. I think it helps the whole process a lot to have someone that you can support, who can support you and that you can rely on. But I will say, when I was in the hospital, I felt like I was in this bubble. It was me and it was baby, and I forgot about the rest of the world. I mean, obviously I didn't forget about my husband, but like nothing else mattered. All that mattered was my baby, him being safe, and me being able to provide for him. And then coming out, back into the outside world, out of the hospital, I felt this really overprotective urge, like such a strong connection with this baby. I didn't really want help. The help for me is like, okay, can you magically help me to produce more milk so I can feed my child? I didn't really want other people there. I just wanted peace and calm. I just wanted to cuddle with my baby, like in a cozy, warm room. That's honestly how I felt. I didn't want help at all. And even now, it's kind of like, because I like to do things. I don't want to just be mum. I like to do things. I like to make dinner. It's my pleasure. I like to make YouTube videos. That's also me being able to do me. I like going for walks and things like that. So people said things like, oh no, you should get someone to cook for you. And I'm like, I don't want someone else to cook for me. I want to be me and do the other things that I liked to do before I was a mum. Throughout the early days of motherhood, I think it's really normal for you and your partner to have not arguments, but like heated discussions or different ways of thinking about how to raise the child. And in some ways, yeah, okay, sometimes I've been difficult, I've been emotional, and I haven't been what I feel is like the warmest wife, but my husband has really held space for me, and I feel that through these different ways of seeing things, we were able to have conversations that deepened our understanding of this team-like approach to raising a child. You know, we did have some different ideas, and I think being able to really talk to him and share how I truly felt, as well as him listen, but also understanding that I've been through a lot physically, emotionally, my whole life has changed, understanding all these things, he was able to be patient. And I honestly would say that patience is probably one of the most important things when it comes to raising a baby. Thankfully, my husband has a lot of it. So I think that's massively helped our relationship. He's been fantastic. He was able to give me help without being like, what shall I do? You know, because I can't answer that. I feel like I take care of the baby and he takes care of me. And in this team-like circular sort of way of just like caring for each other, we can keep this cycle going, and it's nice. You know, I think every woman who has just been through all that does need to feel a sense of support, which can be difficult if you don't accept help. When I first gave birth, I was just so head over heels for this baby, and I still am, of course, but I think maybe about 1 month in, things got really difficult because I realized like I don't have the time to myself anymore. It's not my time, it's baby's time, and we do whatever baby wants at the time that he wants it. It's kind of like a full-time job taking care of a baby, but with no salary, but it's very rewarding. And I did get frustrated, and I did feel a bit lost in terms of identity, like who is Ali now? Because all I feel like I am is mum. His cries triggered me so much, like anything to stop the crying. Right, hang on, the scream fest has begun. So I felt like I had like this tension in my stomach, like I was ready to kind of like jump, living in this fight or flight mentality where I'm constantly just like tense. My body is tense, my muscles are tense, my brain is ready to go all the time. And thankfully I was able to switch my mentality and think about it really differently. I think I just sort of checked in with myself and I was like, this is not the mother that I want to be. I want to be someone who can like remind my child to feel calm, make him feel safe. And I also like read somewhere online about someone who was saying about their own frustrations. She realized that actually this tiny being is completely dependent on you. And they've come out of this safe, warm space that is the womb into this big, scary, noisy world in which they can't do anything and they don't understand anything and they don't have any friends. So you have to be their friend and you have to be that gentleness, that safety. You have to be that for them. And that really came to me at a time that I think I needed it the most, because I was struggling and I was feeling negative feelings, not towards my baby, but towards like myself, like I'm not good enough, like I don't know what I'm doing, I'm tired, I want a break. So to understand that and to really, it just like made me feel like we're best friends in a way. I'm best friends with my baby and he needs me. And in some ways I think now, like I need him. As I said earlier, I think motherhood completely shifts your world, your attitude towards yourself, and what matters, what really matters in this life. You know, it's not easy at all, but it's just amazing. You know, I wake up in the morning and I see his little face and I'm just like, God, I'm so lucky to have this tiny little creature. And still to this day, there are moments where I just look at him and I'm like, that is my baby. I'm a mum. He's my son. It's just what? Yeah, so it's amazing. Yeah, amazing. So what's next? Body stuff. Yeah, I mean, when I gave birth, I felt like everything kind of just came out of my stomach. And it was almost like my stomach was immediately flat again. A flat stomach, but also like big boobs. And I was like, cool. Like, why would you pay for surgery kind of thing? The meals in the hospital were really, really healthy. And I felt also like it was difficult to eat too much because my body just felt like I'd been hit by a truck. And I felt quite skinny then, actually, which I didn't think I would say postpartum. But then now I'd say I don't feel fat, but I feel wobbly. I don't feel like toned and sharp anymore. That used to be a massive issue for me, but I feel now it's kind of like my priorities have shifted. And yeah, sometimes I look in the mirror and I think, isn't quite what I'd hoped it was looking like, the old bod. But again, like I was saying earlier, I think motherhood shifts your mentality and to be honest, I'm kind of too busy to worry too much about my stomach being a bit wobbly. I do hope to get back into exercise. I don't really have time, which I know is a stupid excuse when it comes to exercise, but I literally, sometimes he just wants to be on the boob all day. And that's not an exaggeration. I'm just sitting right where I'm sitting now with baby on my boob for hours and hours. And that brings me to the next point, breastfeeding. I mean, I will make a separate video on breastfeeding because it's a full-time job. It is incredibly hard. There are a lot of like emotions towards yourself and your ability as a mum. It's been really tough, and I think I did struggle to produce enough milk. I've spent the entire day just trying to breastfeed, and it's like dinner time now. I've been trying all day and it's tough. Also, the midwives seem to really want me to include formula, and I did feel a bit pressured to include formula, whereas I know if you don't include formula and you keep pushing with the breastfeeding, that makes it much more easy in the long run to produce enough milk for your child, because obviously with breastfeeding, the milk supply comes on demand. So if you aren't using your boobs at all, you will dry up. You won't have any milk to provide for the child. But if you're feeding him every 2 hours or 3 hours, 1 hour sometimes, your milk supply keeps going. After the hospital, I think my husband really wanted to support me, and he was like, you know, we should use formula whenever you get tired. And I was like, yeah, but I really want to make this breastfeeding thing work. So I took it as this challenge that I was going to overcome, and I bought myself a pump and I made myself a schedule, and I basically just put my all into breastfeeding. And the difference between how much milk I could produce at first versus now is just like completely different. So in a nutshell, I would say that the breastfeeding experience has been really emotional for me. It's kind of like motherhood, but then also the extra job of breastfeeding. It's a full-time job. I do it all the time, and it can be uncomfortable, and you know, you don't really know what you're doing and stuff, but I'm glad that I've had the support. I'm glad that I saw it as a challenge, and I'm glad that I pushed through, to be honest, because it's such a bonding time with your child to be able to feed them and nourish them from your own body. So yeah, I will do another video on breastfeeding. Please do check it. I'll put it in the description box when it is made, when the video is made. I'm doing a video. Hi, baby Chan. Hi, baby Chan. Hello. Very sleepy. Baby Chan. Yeah. Okay. Say hello, everybody. He looks a little bit sleepy. So basically, I'm really loving being a mum. I feel it's just a part of me that I never knew I had, but was always in there. And it's not easy, and I don't sleep very much, but I love it. We went to Kamakura. It was his first trip, and I actually went for a run. I went for a run. Yeah, I did. I went for a run. I was used to run basically every day, very regularly at least. I haven't been able to do that. I haven't had time to do that, and it felt amazing. I ran. I had the most beautiful view of Mount Fuji. It was just gorgeous. It felt really nice to be using my body, not just like hunched over breastfeeding like I do for hours and hours on end each day. And yeah, I feel like it was like a nice refresh. Having a child makes me appreciate really simple things like silence, or a moment just to put away the shopping, or like connection. Something really lovely actually about having a baby is that usually in Tokyo you see other people and you kind of ignore them because it's kind of like respecting someone's private space. But with a baby, people can't control themselves and they just say, oh, he's so lovely, like kawaii, and they come over and they say, how old is he? And it's this lovely connection with other humans. You know, this most basic fundamental thing of procreating brings people closer, and it's a lovely feeling, especially when you feel the emotions and the hormonal shifts of postpartum, when you feel a bit fat and exhausted and you don't have any time for yourself. To have that small little smile from a stranger, it's really uplifting. Well, there's loads of things I could continue talking about, but I will leave it there. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you have any extra points from your own experiences, do leave them in the comment section, and see you next time. Bye bye.